You know, you can find meaning in life with freedom, but freedom is a chaotic sort of meaning, right? And freedom isn't the sort of thing that makes people happy. It's the sort of thing that makes people troublesome.
When you're becoming successful, you need to have the mentality of being unbeatable. You need to make sure that you wake up every single day and truly believe to yourself that nobody can beat you, and you know exactly how to do whatever it is you want to do. And you know that you're not going to give up, even if you fail. Failing is going to happen throughout your life, and that's something you just have to pull your pants up and accept.
Your life would be straight and clean and engaging and acceptable and positive.
You need to grow up and discover that failing is alright, because the people that think failing is the worst thing in the world are the ones who fail and quit. And if you decide to fail and then quit after that, everything you've been trying to do is a complete and utter waste of your time and energy. And if you keep failing and giving up, you'll constantly have this mindset of being defeated all the time and thinking that you're a loser because you failed and you've given up.
You hurt yourself, you compromise your health, it's really hard on the people around you, you tend to turn into a liar, and it screws up your life.
However, if you fail and you get back up, you're going to feel so much more confident and believe in yourself to a degree that you've never thought possible. You're going to think of yourself as an unstoppable person because you'll always get back up no matter how many times you get knocked down. That's one of the biggest power moves you can ever pull, is constantly getting knocked down, yet always getting back up regardless of the situation or no matter how bad you failed.
One of the things that's really weird about dreams, and almost impossibly weird, is that you're an observer in the dream. It's like a dream is something that happens to you.
You always get back up and decide to keep pursuing whatever it is you started, because you're not going to finish until you've finally completed that one goal.
You can get a long way in your career. And I would say that that's a strategy that a minority of men preferentially do. That's all they do. Majority men who aren't doing very well. So for example, at Mohawk College, the future authoring program had a particularly robust effect on Mohawk College students who were men who hadn't done very well in high school and who hadn't picked a major that had a destination, a career destination at its end. So you can imagine those people they have an ambiguous relationship with the idea of education, and they're not oriented specifically towards a goal. They're not very motivated. Now, why did it have a differential effect on men? That's a good question. Well, first of all, the women are doing better. So it might just be a matter of the fact that it does better for people who aren't doing as well, and at the moment, most of them are men. I think that might be part of it, but I don't believe that's all of it. I think that part of the reason that women are doing better is because they're agreeable. And so if a system sets out a structure and says, here's a pathway to attainment, the women won't rebel against that, they'll go along with it, and that's working very well for them at the moment. The men, especially the men on the disagreeable end of the distribution, and there's way more men on the disagreeable end of the distribution than there are women. Proposition have been deemed self-evident are not obvious. So when I was just backstage, I was looking at the Declaration of Independence, which I do quite regularly, make sure that I've got especially the introductory statements formulated properly. And the introductory statements, I won't quote them precisely, but they lay out a series of propositions. And the first is that we hold these truths to be self-evident, and that people are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that they're equal, and that government is to govern by the consent of individuals. And those are axiomatic statements, right? They're the sort of statements that you build a system from. You have to accept the statements first before you can build the system. It's analogous in some sense to Euclidean geometry, right? There's a set of axioms and you accept them, and then you can build a system, but you have to accept the axioms. But you don't have to accept the axioms, that's the thing. And one of the things that's very much worth understanding is that the current culture war that we're embroiled in, the idea of the hierarchy, let's call it a dominance hierarchy, because within lobsters it's kind of like a physical prowess hierarchy, something like that. The idea of the hierarchy is at least 350 million years old. And so I read that and I think, well, so much for the idea that human hierarchies are a socio-cultural construct. It's like, no, that's wrong. It's not just a little bit wrong, it's unbelievably wrong. It's mind-bogglingly wrong. Idea for two reasons. One is it tells you why it's so hard on people to be put down. Because it doesn't just upset them in the moment, it changes the way their entire system responds to the world so that they now experience more positive emotion and less negative emotion. So that's really rough. And then there's a corollary to that too, which is Like, there's a very tight relationship between your belief system and your dominance hierarchy position. You make yourself sort of vulnerable by doing that because you open up the front of your body, right? But it's a sign of confidence, and that way people are most likely to give you the benefit of the doubt. And that's a good way to start regulating your mood. But not only does it directly regulate your mood to stand up, there's a big problem here. Problem is, it's true. You're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed. God only knows why. Maybe you're too short, or you're not as beautiful as you could be, or your grandparent was a serf, likely, because almost everybody's great-grandparent was. It's like, and you're not as smart as you could be, and you have a sick relative, and you have your own physical problems, and it's like, frankly, you're a mess. And you're oppressed in every possible way, including your ancestry and your biology, and the entire sum of human history has conspired to produce victimized you with all your individual pathological problems. It's like, yes, true. Okay, but the problem is that it is true, and so if you take the oppressed, you have to fractionate them. It's like, well, so let's fix all your oppression, and we'll take every single thing into account, and then we'll fix yours too. We'll take every single thing into account. It's like, no, you won't, because you can't. You can't. It is technically impossible. First of all, you can't even list all the ways that you're oppressed.
Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel, and go ahead and let us know what you thought down in the comment section below.